It's all go in the mornings at this new Brighton home. Lunches have to be made and children need to get dressed for school, all 5 of them. Rental prices have increased to the point where Renee Brownie and her partner Phil have had to invade her mother's house with their children in tow. The 1-bedroom unit is far too small for this family, so they've parked this bus out front. It's been their home for the last 13 weeks.
Good, the kids are starting to stress out, they don't have their own space. We don't have our own space. My youngest, my 10-month-old, always gets woken up by the other kids.
Before coming here, the family struggled to find cheap accommodation. They even tried camping.
Landlords just keep putting the rent up and we had to keep moving, and this was our last resort.
This solution to their own personal housing crisis is far from perfect. Christchurch East Labour MP Porter Williams says the family deserves a spot on Housing New Zealand's priority list, but there are already close to 300 families ahead of them.
We're heading into the 4th winter and we've still got people in really overcrowded situations, and they're people who have been in rental accommodation, but they've just been priced out of the market.
This is supposed to be the cheaper option, but when a family of 7 arrives on your doorstep, the bills soon add up. The cost of power has surged.
I was paying about $70, $80 a month, and I just got a power bill yesterday. It was $454. You got to keep them warm. We've already had the influenza through the house, and that was before winter started.
Deborah's case is one of the latest to come through Portal's doors.
Hello, good morning, how are you? Cold. Come on.
The 55-year-old grandmother has been looking after her 9-year-old grandson. Due to extreme circumstances, they had to leave their former home, and now they're just another number on a list.
We're now living at my sister's place with her husband, her teenage daughter, my adult son, myself and my grandson. We're sleeping in the same bed in a small room.
Deborah's on an invalid's benefit and her grandson has learning disabilities. She's been on the housing priority list for more than 2 months and the excruciating weight is wearing her down.
How much easier would life be if you did have a place, your own place?
Oh, you wouldn't believe it. It would be fantastic. You know, I could be settled, would be settled. You know, I mean, it's impacting on him. He withdraws. I just, well, you can see.
You're at breaking point at the
moment. I am.
Porter Williams says her office is dealing with more than 40 other urgent cases. She knows of one 3-bedroom home that's housing more than 20 people.
In our office, last week we did a count up, we've got about 48, and that's in our office alone. And I've said to you before that this is a problem that's across the whole city. So we're looking at hundreds, and we know that there are about 300 on the Housing New Zealand Priority A list.
She believes the Housing Minister, Dr Nick Smith, is out of touch. The Minister isn't avoiding the camera, but he firmly believes the city's woes are a challenge and not a crisis. Last week he released a statement about the challenge. He says the progress of Housing New Zealand's new developments illustrate the momentum underway to fix and replace the city's damaged housing stock. He says an all-time monthly record of 356 new houses were consented in April 2014. This is more than double the 146 consented this time last year. The Minister is confident that by 2016, Christchurch will have built enough new homes to restore Christchurch's housing stock to pre-earthquake levels. Housing New Zealand's 700 new build program will help restore its stock to pre-earthquake levels by 2015. It also plans to repair 5,000 homes. It's only built 27 new ones, but there are 438 under construction or contract at present. Portal says the program was slow to start, but now the work is starting to push ahead.
They had planned to get some homes that were going to be online in November. They're actually been fast-tracked. They're due to be online in July, but we're only talking about 62. And when you've got nearly 300 on the Priority A list alone, that's, the numbers don't add up.
Housing New Zealand says the long wait was due to an insurance hold-up of more than $300 million.
We've got a long way to go, but we are the single largest residential landlord in Christchurch, but we've got programs in place to ensure that by the end of next year, by the end of 2015, we'll not only have all our houses repaired, we'll have the houses replaced that we lost from the earthquakes.
The housing crisis extends beyond the east. During a recent Street Stories episode, I looked at the central city's homeless problem. I met dozens of homeless men, women and even teenagers, 16-year-olds living on the streets who have nowhere else to go. Two Dogs has been sleeping inside abandoned buildings since the earthquakes, and now he's found a temporary home. A few streets away on a demolished site, he's parked a van. The motor's blown, but that doesn't matter. Two Dogs has converted the vehicle into a home.
Come on, up here. Still. Lie down, lie down. Yeah. Yeah, it's really good that I've got these two. Wouldn't trade them for the world.
Blankets line the floor, and he's built shelves to store his dog's food and water.
Well, this is it. This is home. As you can see, not very flash, but it's good enough for me.
It's going to be a warmer winter than the last, is it?
Oh yeah, certainly more secure. And that brings a warm feeling of its own, really.
Where were you last winter?
I was in a tent and then we coped the trees.
Christchurch City Councillor Glenn Livingston chairs the council's housing committee. I felt this was something he needed to see. Neil was there to greet him, explaining just how bad things are.
This year seems worse than the other years.
In terms of the actual numbers of people?
Yeah, and especially in the winter, especially the hard winter nights, we're needing more food.
Yeah, I'd just like us to try and do something. No more talking, but actual shelter and or food.
Glenn's solution is to find a temporary shelter for people squatting in the city. He says the situation is getting as serious as the flooding in Flockton Basin. He wants the City Council to respond as soon as possible.
So if I had it my way completely, what I would like is a transitional shelter for people with all the agencies involved, because there's some obvious, social needs and things, and a joined-up approach. So that will take resourcing, it'll take money, organisation and a lot of subtlety and skill.
He's hoping the rest of the City Council will back him with his proposal. In his eastern ward, it's estimated there are more than 100 homeless. From my observations, the city is experiencing a housing crisis. 11,000 homes were lost during the earthquakes, and until there is enough housing stock available, cases like these are going to become more and more common. Marcus Gibbs, CTV News.